as we walk way up on top. Nice and cool with a nice breeze. This must be the remains of Samoil's fortress, undergoing excavation, restoration, whatever. Looks like a sizable structure. I'll have to read up on it and see how this compares to the fortress, which should be up above me from behind. Looks like it continues right underneath this road and underneath me. These probably were mini towers, if you will. Unless they were mosque. Now this is Christian, so it wouldn't be mosque. That's the difference between those two towers. I wonder what their functional difference is. And you wonder if those were original levels, including this small stone area here. A lot of this is restoration in here also. This restoration is nice because it gives you an idea what it would have looked like inside when it was almost new and complete. At least to the arches. Notice that that's a replication above of what the earlier material was, and that's those relatively thin and fairly well-defined slabs, or bricks if you want to call them that, which is a nice idea as opposed to the rougher ones we saw up at Eurocastra. Now this is interesting because of its size and the various angles that you get from those partial cylinders of construction detail. Here the material is different. They're using stones with those same brick they use for the walls, probably taken from the walls of the castle or the fort behind me, Samoil's fortress. And we can see this is probably honestly defining what was original versus what's all been reconstructed. Medieval church, Clement Panteleimon, 9th and 15th centuries. Just to describe as I'm walking here what I saw inside, mainly it's totally reconstructed. There are 4 moderately square columns that provide support inside in the center part. This part here, of course, you don't have access to because it's hidden behind the iconostases. And then there's some smaller panels at the bottom, very much like there is on the exterior, that display the original remains, which were the same stone on the inside with a fairly thick, it looked like about 1.5 inches to 2 inches of plaster and frescoes on that. I believe that most of the iconostases and other paintings in there were recent. This is entitled The Baptistry. And there you can see where the priest would have walked the child down for the baptism. Here, mosaics. And there, an ancient symbol, the Nazi swastika. It's too bad that the Nazis destroyed that symbol's prior history also, although I don't remember what it is. This was probably a fairly modest structure, if in fact it was a full enclosed structure. It may not have been, since it appears that it was inside of a larger square structure. It's interesting. I wonder if these were just outbuildings for the monastery or the church, or whether they were part of Samuil's fortress. But nevertheless, a spectacular panoramic view from here. It'd be great to have a house up in this area, as the people below us do. Come that way, across the top and down to here, and behind me is that point that we come to. So I'm going to try to walk back up here to the left and then circle back around, steadily going down until I hit the restaurant I want to get, which is where the tourist area begins. This is interesting because it looks like everything below this one level is either fill or very old or original. Notice that that looks like a fairly consistent red material there, as does the area about 3 feet below that ridge there, which looks like it's carrying a drainage ditch. Now the fault that I have with my reasoning is that beyond is what appears to be either a room or some kind of excavation that felt necessary to go down that deep. Now see, I'm sure they went down to that rock because it represented some level, and it is a level below that reddish grade over there, although perhaps not below the first 6 feet from the wall here. Now there's down to there, and then when you get further down where it's solid red, that's probably where it's untouched original soil. And then right here, of course, you have a archaeologist sorting table, I suspect. Also, the stratigraphy along this wall, except for that area right to the right, or to the left rather, and except for the area immediately to the left of the frame, as I pan along, the stratigraphy here looks to be pretty consistent. In other words, it's level and it stays the same, and it's pretty much unbroken until right there. This is an interesting piece of worked stone. Was that intentionally and always horizontal, or was it at one point in time orientated vertically? Could it have been a baptismal font or a holy water font? Ingloriously a receptacle for someone's dead sandwich. But notice how that portion in the center that's been worked out again, is thicker at the left than it is at the right. What would have been the purpose of this particular stone? Two things that are somewhat of interest. First of all, this first wall and the separation from the second wall of only a foot or so. And then the second thing is the bench-like structure around the base of these walls in this restored section. Was that an original structural device, or was it a sitting device? It looks perfect for the sitting device. Very much like an Anasazi Hogan, or not a Hogan, but whatever their religious circular room was. A funky old, maybe communist era car. The Zastava. Poking through the left, there's I poke the view between these buildings. You can see the flag down at the docks where the tourist square is. I'm going to go way around to the left and then down. Another view. Another cute little funky car, almost looks like a cartoon car, doesn't it? Still another. And another Christian church on top of the hill. I don't know why I'm saying it's a Christian church. It's a Christian country. How many millions would you peg this view at?